Every morning the world starts quietly, one soft light at a time. Homes flicker awake, shops open. People take those first small steps into a brand new day. And in all of that ordinary movement, there's something kind of extraordinary. A moment worth noticing, a spark you feel before you even name it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's small, but kindness shows up right on time. And every morning we choose to show up with you so we can look for that spark together.
Good morning. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and this is Kindness Rising. Let's rise together.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the question of the day. Who decided that was the rule? Who decided that was the rule? I am trying to get organized here a little bit this morning. Okay. How's everybody doing today? Get involved in the chat. My name is Matt Roof. I am the Uncommon Kindness Guy. I come here every weekday morning to help you rise with a little bit of kindness, to rise above the usual noise of the day. And today we are talking about rules, the rules that were thrust upon us, the rules that we have followed without even questioning, the rules that help us to stay on track too. So there's a reason rules exist, right? But who decided that that was the rule? When did it quietly stop being a suggestion and start feeling like a law? That is the question. That is the question. Welcome to Kindness Rising. I am glad that you have joined me here today for a little hope, humanity, and heart. Yep. And yesterday we were talking about noticing. Today, I want to talk about why we stop questioning in the first place. Absolutely. A lot of what we call the rules in our lives, they aren't written anywhere. They're just learned. Psychologists, they call this social conditioning. Social conditioning is a process where we absorb the norms, the expectations, and the behaviors simply by watching, repeated, and being rewarded or corrected based on that behavior. Good morning, Roseanne Roof. I am glad you are here with me this morning. And those others, get involved in the chat. Welcome to Kindness Rising. We are talking about social conditioning and the rules that we have followed just because we were rewarded or corrected for certain behaviors in our life. But here's the thing, rarely does anybody sit down and say, here's exactly the way your life is supposed to go, right? Instead, we learn it through praise, we learn it through disapproval, through our routines, and what has been modeled for us as normal. But what is normal, all right? That's what I'm asking this time right now. If something gets approval, we repeat it, then that becomes normal. If it gets friction, we avoid it. But the question is that friction wrong? Is it bad to have a little bit of friction? Because once something starts to become normal, it just becomes the routine, then it starts feeling like a rule, right? And then it starts feeling like a requirement. And then you got to start questioning it. You got to start questioning. What rules are you questioning today out there in Kindness Rising? Rules about your life, things that maybe you're like, wait a second, why do I do that? Yesterday we talked about, why is that object there? Why has the garbage can always been there? Can I move it? I don't know. Can you? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just have to be intentional and aware about it. Absolutely. Good morning, Mike Sullivan, future life coach. Every day you join us, you're an inspiration. I was just speaking actually about you yesterday, Mike Sullivan, with one of our friends who's going to be joining the network here, Cheryl Whitaker. She's going to be starting her show in February, and she and I were doing some planning, and I was talking about my experiences here going live every day on the network. And I mentioned you. I mentioned you too, Mom, that sometimes your family shows up, and that's good. And sometimes you have people who just come into your life for whom your show becomes the anchor in their life to get their day started. And Mike, you mentioned that to us before, that Kindness Rising in Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends is what helps you to stay on track. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here. I have had other people who are saying, you go live every day and you have 7-10 people watching live at a time. I don't care if there's one. I don't care if there's one. I would rather have one or two of you people who are really here because you want to be here than to have hundreds of people who are following because they're, I don't know, whatever, they're just what, dumb and funny. Welcome S4X, dumb and funny. I like that. I like that combination. You know what? Sometimes it's all right. Tell us about yourself, dumb and funny. Welcome into the chat. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness guy. I come here, Kindness Rising, every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. to get us up with a little hope, a little humanity, a little heart, and to talk about how we can improve our lives and rise above the noise, at least to get our day started before we get inundated with all the stuff that is out there. Absolutely. And today we're talking about rules. We're talking about the rules that have been thrust upon us, the ones that have been adopted by us and we don't question. And of course, as always, we have some friends who are questioning those same things.
Hey. Wait, cats don't eat bones. That's the rule.
Oh, yeah. Who made up that rule?
Well, everyone.
Then that explains why no one ever questioned it.
Now that's really a bone to chew.
And that's the point. When they, them, anyone, everyone, that's the rule. That just is the way it is. Then sometimes we miss out on some things that might be a great opportunity. Maybe those cats want to love that bone. All right. That is Reggie and Rusty, and they come with us every day. They were a little offbeat today, but that's okay. I'm learning as I go here how to make Reggie and Rusty a part of our family at Kindness Rising. I hope you enjoy their antics too as we develop and grow together every day here on Kindness Rising, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Absolutely. So we were talking a little bit about social conditioning and how we just follow the rules. The rules say, they say, everybody says. Stevie D's, welcome. Dumb and funny, thanks for the sub up, everybody. Get involved, 7:30 a.m. Eastern here on Kindness Rising, where we rise above the noise of the day and get up with a little bit of energy, a little bit of focus, a little bit of personal development opportunity to think about the things that are in our lives a little bit differently, have a little bit of perspective, zoom out and have that perspective on things, and maybe just have a little bit more calm and pleasant world where we can have actual conversation, debate, and discussion about things without it turning into rage and hate and division. Carter Broom, welcome into Kindness Rising. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for showing up. I do every day, 7:30 a.m. Absolutely. So let's talk about something. Let's talk about a game. I don't know where people sit in their demographics, but there was a game that I grew up with. I know it still exists because my kids have played with it. 4 colors, a simple pattern, and a clear task. Follow the lights and the glowing sounds right around. Watch, repeat. Watch, repeat, repeat. Watch, repeat, 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 repeat. Don't add anything. Don't improvise. Only if you follow the pattern perfectly do you advance. And if you don't, right? You get that awful buzz sound. No explanation, no curiosity, just you're wrong, right? That's the game Simon, if you remember it. And that's sometimes how we are trained, right? It's wild how those early lessons sometimes are, they're the way that we're developed. You learn that success means accuracy, that creativity is a risk that might not be worth it, that adding your own move ends the game. And nobody ever said, hey, this is just a game. So the lessons stick. A lot of us carry that same exact pattern into our adulthood. Follow the example, match only what you're shown, don't deviate unless you're sure it's safe. And when life buzzes at us, a mistake, a comment, a failure, we don't correct the move, we stop experimenting. So Simon didn't teach us how to think, it just taught us how to comply. And unless we notice that, we keep playing the game long after we've outgrown it. And that's Simon on our Be Kind Rewind today. Anybody out there play the Simon game? Any other of those follow games? I know for one generation it was bop it. You guys bop it, pull it, twist it, crank it, whatever. Those kind of tool things. My kids played with those. We had mini ones, long ones. How many could you get in a row? And yeah, we played it. But if you fell off track, you got buzzed out and had to pass it along. So those are the rules we're shown, but we're trying to fight against some of those rules, right? Some of those rules keep us grounded. We have to have some kind of guidelines and guardrails. Absolutely. We use our morals, we use our values, we use what's important to us in our life as our guardrails. And you can still break the rules within those. You can still be something different than what you thought you were trained to be, right? Or the expectations of other people, the rules of other people. I hope that's something that you take away with you every day on Kindness Rising, to be genuine to yourself. The rules are there to help you as guidelines, but they're guidelines. Now, don't break the law. The law is a whole nother story. Please follow the law, but you can break the rules. Just because someone says cats that can't eat bones doesn't mean your cat might not want a bone. And it might not be good for them too. So, all right. I don't know what happened there. Something just happened. Did you guys see that? Okay, never mind. So anyway, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about breaking rules. I'd love to hear about what people have going on. What rules are you breaking out there in the chat? You breaking any rules today? Well, I want to talk about an organization that's kind of breaking the rules a little bit, changing the game. We always do that. We like to do that. Now I'm thinking rules, regulations, laws. Let's get them defined. Oh, Mom, you're always about defining everything. Every time. Define. So here's the thing. Rules, regulations, laws, right? Rules are made up. They're made up things that maybe there's some authority, those rules that we have learned to follow in life, regulations and laws, they have followed some form of societal uh, process, hopefully a free and open one, where we have a chance to have input into that process. And those are things that we have agreed on as a society to follow. So, and they have consequences. They have huge consequences. So maybe that's the difference. I don't know, Mom. What do you think? What do you think of the difference between a regulation, a law, and a rule is out there in the world? I think of rules as things that can be twisted, broken. They're usually thrust on us by some either self or societal expectation that we think is there. There's rules of games, there's rules of that we make up in our households or whatever the case may be, but they're just rules, and they can change. Regulations and laws, they take a little bit more to change. Some keep us safe, some just keep order. I agree with that. Safety is huge. I would agree with that, Mom. Thank you. That's actually part of, right? Part of why laws and regulations exist, to keep us safe. I appreciate that. Um, absolutely. And so do those rules too. Some of them, some of them. But rules are things we can choose to follow or not, I think. Um, that's an interesting question. But let's get back to the spotlight. Let's get back to the spotlight. The kindness spotlight today, instead of borrowing books, maybe you want to borrow a conversation. Sit down with a real person, someone whose life experience might challenge assumptions that you might not even realize you're carrying. The goal of it isn't debate, it's curiosity. It's an organization called the Human Library. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this, but the Human Library doesn't tell you what to think. It just creates a place to pause, and to follow the patterns, different patterns that than what we have followed in the past. It quietly challenges one of the strongest unspoken rules we live by. I already know what this person is about. Maybe people jumping into the chat know what this person is about. Absolutely, but you don't. And that's what I love to see. Luciano, welcome. Biscuit Chick, you're welcome to stay here and not make assumptions about what's going on here. I hope that you'll find that this show is an opportunity to rise above your noise and your head. All right. Meow 12432. I got to be honest with you. Geography, I've said it before. Geography, flags, not my thing. Not my thing. So tell me what that's saying. And there is a language here I don't know also, but I am glad you are here anyway. Interesting. All right. So the Human Library, check out the Human Library. It's an organization that's bringing people together, helping them to not question, or to question, to not make and not to question assumptions about other people. We see people, we think they are a certain way, and maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. I think probably a great example of that is over there on Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and Friends. Certainly an R-rated and wild experience over there with two guys who speak plainly, but underneath that surface there is a whole lot of knowledge, a whole lot of wisdom, and opportunity to rise above and to not hit the snooze button. I hope you'll get on over to see Keith, John, and Friends on Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and Friends, and you'll follow all the antics here at Mornings in the Lab as we start to add more programming. Today on Mornings in the Lab, I think there is going to be a special guest segment. I am interested in hearing Brianna Brass talk about her subjects. I think is the no safe words subject. They're going to be talking about relationships and sex over there on Mornings in the Lab with that program. Then in February, we're adding joy with Cheryl Whitaker. We'll be having Cheryl on the show here too, with a half an hour program about joy. I am kindness. She is joy. Keith and John are a little bit of chaos, fun, and not hitting the snooze button. And then we've got a couple other programs in the works too. So keep an eye out on Mornings in the Lab Network because we are growing. And if you want to be part of the Mornings in the Lab Network, don't hesitate to reach out to me, Matthew Roof, right here on YouTube or LinkedIn. I had a lot of activity over on LinkedIn, so find me there too. Yes, Mike Sullivan helps you rise early and learn about the great techniques to get through tough times. Some amazing good organizations that are giving in kind. Yes, Mike, you had told me you want the kindness spotlights to continue. And so They're yours. Maybe we'll call them the official Mike Sullivan kindness spotlights. I don't know, because you're the one who said that's what you want, and that's what we're building here as a community, who tells me what they want and how they want it, and I can try to oblige and make it fit, because we're building a community, and it's my show, but it's our show too. So I am open to that feedback and to ideas on how to make the show better, on how to make our time together more productive, more interesting, more educational, more entertaining, whatever it might be. But this is one thing I promise you, I will be here 7:30 a.m. Eastern every weekday morning. Stories, news, ideas, thoughts that help us to rise above the noise that's out there in the world. Maybe picking up on some of the trends, but putting our little kindness ideas onto it, and align with our show. And here's one that I want to talk about. You guys know Sharpay? That name sound familiar to you? Oh God, I gotta twist around here a little bit. Sometimes this stool gets a little anyway. All right. You guys know Sharpay? Sharpay from High School Musical. Ashley Tisdale is the actress who plays her. It played her. She's now 40, which is like time flies. It's just craziness. But she's been in the headlines this week. Yep. Ashley Tisdale back in the headlines at 40, sharing why she stepped away from a celebrity mom group. There are assumptions about who's been in the group and photographs that have been taken about who's in the group, but we're going to talk about those. But it's a group that she's decided that over time just started to feel draining and exclusionary and unhealthy. And she landed there because it felt familiar. Yep. She landed there. There was, uh, other people who are seemingly in the same headspace as she is, in the same place in life, sharing experiences, but it turned out to be not what she thought it was, or what she thought she was supposed to be a part of, whatever was going on in that group. And that's what we're talking about. Is the unspoken rule says if you're part of a group, you stick out. It's familiar, you tolerate it. If it's always been this way, you don't rock the boat, right? Stick it out, you tolerate it, you don't rock the boat. That's part of being a group. Those are unspoken rules of the group. But for Sharpay / Ashley Tisdale, what changed wasn't her loyalty to the group, but her self-awareness. Her self-awareness that this group was not meeting her needs anymore, right? And that's where it really connects to kindness rising. Choosing to step away like she did is not unkind. It's actually a kindness towards yourself. And it takes curiosity and courage to ask, is this still good for me? Is this working for me? It takes balance to honor your needs without villainizing others too, right? She didn't name names. People knew because they know, but she wasn't saying this person did this or that person did this or that. This no longer works for me. It's about her, not about the other people, right? Maybe those other people have reasons, whatever it might be, but she's saying it in my balance, my growth, I am going to step away from this. And it takes growth. It is growth that to accept that outgrowing is growth, that you outgrow something. Okay. Yeah. When you grow, you tend to outgrow things. Okay, that makes sense. I knew my thinking was there somewhere. When you grow, you outgrow things, right? It doesn't mean that what you outgrew was wrong. It just means that you're not the same person anymore. And that's the growth. That's the growth. And you move on. Uh, and you're not blowing up your life. You're not cutting everyone off, but you can quietly realize that I'm allowed to choose what I stay in and answer take a pause, take a choice, take awareness of what you're involved in, and step away if it's not serving you anymore. more. And it's not an indictment on the others. It's just what you need for you. That's the lesson of Ashley Tisdale. Keep an eye out for her. I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. I think that probably takes a lot of courage. You think about it in that celebrity world. I haven't been there myself, obviously, but a world where you're being watched and paparazzi'd and people recognize you and you're trying to raise kids at the same time. I'm sure for her, having people that were in a similar boat, publicly recognizable, but trying to have a private life. It's an interesting dilemma to be in, but for whatever reason, this group was no longer serving her. So that's the Ashley Tisdale story. Let's move on. Let's move on to our compass before time slips away from us entirely. The 3 takeaways that we can anchor even for our self-awareness. Here's the thing. Not all rules were written by you, and that doesn't make them wrong. It just means they've been borrowed and you can question them. And questioning them isn't disrespect. It's participation in your own life. It's taking control of your own boundaries and finding what fits for you. And here's the thing. You are allowed to update those old rules. It's okay to have rules as long as you're aware of them, especially if they were written, if those rules were written for a version of you that no longer exists. You can rewrite the rules and rewrite the expectations. And that's the lesson for today. The lesson. You know, I struggle with that. It's interesting. Is this a lesson? Is this community? Is this participation? I think there's a lesson in that. And yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we're winding down here on Kindness Rising on another Tuesday. We're going to get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends together. I appreciate everyone who's come here, who's stuck it out, who subscribes to the channel. Come on back, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Tomorrow morning, I will be here with you. And here it is. Here's today's quiet truth. You don't have to reject the rules that you inherited, but you are allowed to examine them. Because the moment you ask, who decided this, you move from autopilot to authorship. And tomorrow we'll talk about how even the smallest choices, the little ones we make, can return your sense of agency. And that's what we're talking about this week here on Kindness Rising. I hope you'll come back tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern. Get on over to see Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and friends right now. And until I see you tomorrow morning, stay uncommon and stay kind.
Okay, Matt, we got the memo about the Kindness Rising promo, but what exactly are we promising people?
And is there craft services? Hey, I need snacks too.
Gentlemen, focus. Kindness Rising multiplies kindness and helps people get up on the right side of the bed.
So wait, we're not doing another angry headline show.
Exactly. We rise above the negative, divisive noise.
Translation, less rage bait, more high fives for humanity. And this is live, like actually live.
Yep. We go live on YouTube and LinkedIn, 7:30 a.m. Eastern every weekday.
Wait, if it's live, what if I forget my lines?
Then you improvise.
Okay, so our tagline is basically wake up, tune in, and start your day with kindness.
Exactly. Kindness Rising. Good vibes, practical tips, and a reason to get up on the right side of the bed.
You heard the boss. Subscribe now before he makes us do a TikTok dance.
Kindness Rising. Wake up, tune in, and let's make some good noise.